Oh, I really screwed this one up, guys. I somehow okay, hold on. How did I do this?
Roll
Okay.
that beautiful bean footage.
Okay, everyone forget that, and here we go.
The middle children of history, man. No purpose or place. We have no Great War, no Great Depression. Our Great War is a spiritual war.
I'm with Anthony for 2 days in person, and his boomerness rubs off on me, and I can't work tech
Like
all of a sudden.
osmosis.
Like osmosis. Oh, I forgot to set up the local stream, so this isn't streaming the locals tonight either.
Somebody specifically asked about that earlier.
I suck tonight, everyone. I'm sorry, man. It was a very busy and hectic, but very good weekend. So,
Yeah, I saw.
I apologize if I'm a little out of it tonight.
We have a new faithful.
We do.
How was the baptism?
It was awesome. It was really awesome. So it's the parish I grew up in. So it's awesome to see my kids baptized there. And the priest who did the baptism was the same priest who did my dad's funeral there a few years ago. And he's just an awesome priest and gives amazing homilies. His name's Father Altier, and he I forget who posts his homilies, but his homilies do get posted somewhere weekly if anyone wants to Google them. But yeah, baptism was good. Hanging out with Anthony was good. Seeing everyone at the little lunch we had after was awesome.
Good.
So we had a lot of people. We had a couple fly in from Chicago, from the Telegram. A lot of people drove a few hours, so it was awesome.
Wow. Did anybody from the Telegram you meet that you didn't expect?
I forgot that Anthony, he's on the Lads and Slavs podcast. I forgot that he was going to drive in for it. So,
oh wow,
it was, and he lives probably 4 hours away. So it was awesome to see him.
Wow, good. And you were saying something like 40 people showed up.
Yeah,
I don't even have 40. I don't even have like 40 friends.
You have everyone in the Telegram.
Yeah. That's about it. I will not be having any more baptisms y'all can show up to.
The one person I was hoping to see, but who didn't get to come, was Alex, because he was having his well, I know he just had a baby, and then so someone else had a baptism too. So yeah, that's awesome. Anthony is my height, a little bit shorter, so I don't know which one of them was taller. I didn't look. So
did Anthony just take over all the social situations?
No, he was actually pretty laid back for like the lunch after the baptism. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. But we went to dinner the night before at a Russian restaurant. He had never had Russian food before. So he thought that was interesting. He mostly liked the vodka for the most part.
I'm sure. that's pretty on character for him.
Yeah. Yeah. Catholic Parents Online post Father Altier sermons. I highly recommend them. But so today we're doing medical. We have Christopher waiting in the green room. He just told me right before the episode that he's been on an ambulance for 30 years as either an EMT or paramedic. So he is extremely knowledgeable. So we're going to get to him in a minute. But before that, guys, we do have an actual ad read, an actual sponsor, not the AI 6-hour video, though that was hilarious. But we have Requisite Sellers back as a sponsor, just in time for a Christ the King sale they have going on. And because we were a little off the rails too much last time, they gave me a script to read. So we're going to give that a try here. But I'm going to put up a QR code on screen. You can scan that with your phone to go right to their website. But, oh, thank you, Adrian. Wow. Someone that actually can use the platform besides me. So the political tide is changing, hopefully, and that's a good thing, but there's still a lot of work to do. Many brands still support abortion, transgenderism, and 100 other things that erode the pillars of healthy society. What can we do about that? Well, as customers, we can start by rejecting large, soulless corporate monopolies who want to tear down society and start supporting small Catholic businesses who build society up. One Catholic company that you should know about is Requisite Cellars, which I'm invariably probably mispronouncing. Requisite Cellars is a truly Catholic winery. Right now, they are having a sale in honor of Christ the King. So, whether you enjoy a glass of wine yourself or are looking for a classic way to spend time with family and friends, or maybe looking for a nice gift for a priest, you need to check them out. Go to requisitecellars.com. That's RUCUSANT sellers.com, and use the code Rex Chalorum, REXCAELORUM, for 20% off all their red wines now through October 26th. And you'll never regret buying from a small Catholic company. And Adrian disappeared. He didn't put me on screen. He just disappeared. Oh, okay. Well, hopefully he comes back, everyone. I thought he put me on screen all by myself. In the meantime, until he comes back, let's pull up Christopher here. So I'm not all by myself because I hate being by myself. Hey, Christopher. Your sound working?
Yeah. You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Let me see if I got a message from Adrian here. No, I don't. Okay. His internet in his shed is probably crapping out again. But so you told me before we came on that that you've been doing emergency medicine for 30 plus years, right?
Yes, sir.
How did you get into that?
Short story or long story?
Let's start with the long story in case it takes a while for Adrian to come back.
I don't know. I always wanted to kind of do something that I could, I know it's so cheesy. Like, I really wanted to, like, help people, right? I wanted to actually affect people's lives, right? Like, it's maybe a prideful thing or whatever, but I remember, like, wondering what I was going to do. I always knew I was going to go in the military, but I didn't know what to do other than that. And I remember seeing an ambulance drive by, and I was like, oh, maybe I'll do that. And then I started asking my buddies and stuff, and they're like, oh, no, you're going to be a firefighter? And I'm like, no, I really don't want to be a firefighter. Sorry, Adrian.
I was the same thing, man. I was like, I did not want to be a firefighter.
Yeah. So I kind of gave that up and kind of had a little fun time, and then started college and realized that sucked. So I dropped out and joined the Marine Corps. And a couple of years in, I got a really bad, I had to get surgery for something. And I remember sitting there while they're starting an IV on me and just staring at it and going, that's freaking easy. I can do that. And I was talking to my mom, and she was like, and she didn't tell me, but she had looked up and found out how to get EMT. So it was a semester course, and I was like, cool. So you could still take school while you're in the military, and I went in there, and there was like 100 people in the class. It was because at the college they do all the marine tech stuff because it's right on the coast in California, and so they do all the, like, deep sea divers and stuff like that, and the welders, and they have to have EMT, and they always wait to the end of their degree to get it, right? So, but I mean, it was a lot, dude. I had a blast, man. I was like, I aced it, and I'm like, I'm doing medicine now, and ever since then, every freaking college class I took, I loved it, man. It took a little probably growing up afterward, to do it, but and then it's just kind of just started working my way up. Started out as an EMT, started working for a hospital doing non-emergent stuff, and then went to paramedic school, did all that. Got to be a flight medic for a few years, in a search and rescue helicopter, which was one of the coolest things I've ever done. And then we moved to Texas because Austin EMS is known as one of the best in the country, if not the world. I don't know if it's good for a lot of things. I don't know if I'd put it as the best, but but you get to be a paramedic. They teach you a lot of more stuff, large scope of practice, and you literally get to actually do things for people, which I really like to do. So, and I've loved it ever since, man. I'm going to miss it.
Yeah. When I was getting out of the Marines, I just wanted to do 911 medicine. I didn't want to, and then everywhere I looked, it's like, man, if you're not a firefighter, like you're not on a med unit at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to go through fire school, and fire school's fun. Like I just never had a dream to be a firefighter. I never grew up like, man, I want to be a firefighter one day.
Yeah, me neither.
But one of the things I did recognize is being a firefighter is one of the only jobs where people will literally do it for free. Like volunteer fire departments, they will do it for free all the time, and it's their identity too.
But what's an inherent thing they want to like help? Honestly, those guys. I mean, I love the volley firefighters, man. Like we work with them a lot. My neighbor got me on as a medical responder in our local one, and I mean, I love their willingness to help, man. It's sometimes the professional firefighters get a little deserving, I guess you call, or I don't know how you'd say it.
Yeah, they get, but I mean, that's also the difference between your reserve and your active duty, right? There's guys who do it all day, every day, and they're prepared to do it at any moment. And other guys doing it basically when he has free time, when he's not providing for his family. Right? So you're not going to be as sharp on the skills as the guy who's prepared all day.
I mean, honestly, I did a lot of reserves, man. Like, because you know how Marine Corps has to do 8 years, and you can either do active or not active reserve, and I actually really enjoyed my reserve unit because, like, I don't know how it is now, but back then, dude, especially because I was in comm, so that's a needed skill in a lot of different units, and so I got attached to a lot of different units, like 3rd Marine Regiment, or like LAR, 4th LAR. Like, we had a bunch of guys. I missed out on the Panama thing, and we got to send guys down to like Chile and stuff. So I mean, like, even though you were reserved, you technically were active because you could be gone the whole year doing attachments to other units. But I mean, I understand what you're saying. Like, it's like anything, right? Some people do it half-ass and some people do it, but yeah, I loved it, man. Like, I think there's good and bad of both, right? Like, because like you're with the same dudes. Because my reserve unit ended up being the Go to War Battalion, and they were the ones that pushed into Baghdad. I lost a few buddies in that, so I think I was out before then, but yeah, like we got to be a really kick-ass team because we were always working together, whereas like when you're in active, you get every 2 years you're getting to a different unit or something, but again, like there's good stuff with that too. There's it's like almost like a vision quest for a man, right? Like, but in some ways,
yeah,
a lot of deviancy too.
Yes, that's the biggest thing about the Marines. Like that's the biggest reason I don't really push a lot of guys to join, or I don't really encourage it as much, because you're going to be around some degenerate debauch activities, right? And like, if you don't have a good faith foundation before you go in, like you're going to be in some serious mortal sin.
I mean, sorry.
I was just saying, like I had no foundation to my faith at the time, because I left for so long, and it wasn't until I got out that I came back, and I was in some stuff that, like, I try and warn my kids about it now. Like, Dad was not always a good guy.
Yeah,
like that. I had to have. It was basically meeting your mother.
Yeah,
me around. And just. But yeah. So if y'all, I know I was out because my Wi-Fi decided to. It wasn't even my Wi-Fi. First of all, it was my fiber. Right. So I don't know what that was about. I had to go reset the router.
I'm running on 4G, baby, on a cell phone.
I know. I almost threw it on my phone. I just started doing my.
I'm hotspotting.
Yeah, but so did we introduce Chris? Did we introduce him? He is the resident medical advice in the Telegram.
Yeah, we pick his brain all the time for medical stuff in the Telegram.
We got a couple of good guys with some good medical advice.
Ryan and a bunch of guys, good guys.
We always defer to Chris because he's on the front line of a lot of stuff now. Like my knowledge is a little old, right? Because I haven't been a paramedic in 7 years. So I can stop a bleed, but I'm not throwing any king tubes or anything in anytime soon.
Those are freaking easy.
Yeah, you really just shove it down till it stops and then inflate it. But so tonight, the goal we want to go over the reason we brought in our resident expert is Chris is going to go over IFACs and needed training and kind of hit some wave tops on some things. We might get a little into the weeds on some stuff that we need. But as y'all have seen lately with the Michigan attack, and then, going back a few shows ago with enunciation, you're going to much more likely use this than you will use any firearm.
Yeah.
You are much more likely to be going down the road and come across a car accident or a motorcycle accident, and you need to help be able to use these things to save someone's life more than you will ever need to fire a firearm at somebody.
And if you ever do need to fire the firearm, you probably need this too.
Yeah.
So
if you're going to make holes, you need to be able to plug holes. So let's go ahead and I want to play the first video.
Okay.
And then we'll get into things.
The tourniquet paint experiment.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's play that one.
Well, give me a second here. Okay. Let's see if I can make it any bigger. Probably not.
Prepared myself mentally for this.
Andro!
That stung worse. That stung worse. Oh my god!
Oh.
What the?
Oh, it's turning weird colors.
Oh,
Take it off.
Take it.
Take it off.
You were tightening it.
Take it off.
Oh, oh.
Your blood looks black.
Your arm is messed up, dude.
God! Well, I can tell you one thing: it doesn't help with the pain at all. It hurts. It all hurts.
That was an intrusive thought. I'm sorry.
Prepared myself mentally.
Okay. That was interesting.
I had another video where it was the Army and they threw tourniquets on both everybody's legs, like 4 or 5 guys, and to where they, lost the pulse, and then they made them run 100 meters. And you could tell who actually put theirs on and who didn't, because the guys who actually put theirs on and tightened it down correctly, he couldn't even stand. He was like having to drag himself with his arms. So let's get into let's first, Chris, if you don't mind, because I know you've built your own, right? Because you have the knowledge to be able to do that, and a lot of people may not, or they may know somebody who can do it for them. But let's go over what you have in yours, and then we'll go over some things like why you would need this.
In my first aid kit,
your blowout kit, wherever you want to call it.
Or
yeah.
I mean,
so let me ask you this: what do you think everyone should have on them, or at least within arm's reach?
Tourniquets, obviously.
What kind of tourniquet?
Oh, you need to have it has to be confirmed that it works. You can't just, there's a lot of on like Amazon that are, what do you call it?
Counterfeit.
Yeah.
Chinese.
The biggest thing is I'd have at least like 2 to 3 cravats, which are triangle bandages. I'd have a couple of bulky dressings, gauze roll. I'd have some tape. I'd have some trauma shears. I'd have some chest seals. If we're considering a blowout bag. I set up my blowout bag different than I set up my first aid kit. Honestly, man, the biggest thing you're going to use is Band-Aids and Tylenol and ibuprofen.
Yeah.
So you should definitely have those things in there. I would definitely have Tylenol and ibuprofen, people, because people don't realize if you're putting on a tourniquet properly, it's going to frippin' hurt.
Yes.
Really.
Plus,
bad.
you might need to up that autism with the Tylenol.
Right. Yeah. That's so bullshit. Okay. All right. I apologize.
So on the tourniquets, like the 2 I've got here,
Mhm.
I got this one in today. This one's by Snake Snaff.
Mhm.
This is new on the scene pretty much, but it's been TCCC approved.
Mhm.
And then you've got CAT, right? You've got Soft T, you got SWAT. Anything with a windlass is what I've always advised.
So yeah, and that's. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And I was going to say the one I would advise to stay away from is the rats.
Yeah, do not use the rat. That I don't know why that took.
And then
I understand why it took on, but I don't.
the argument is, well, the rats is good for kids.
No, it's bullshit. Oh,
That's
sorry. We've actually proven there's actually studies out that even the softie, the cat will all fit on a child. So,
Are you using some type of spacer or something to help press in, like a
yeah, you can like
water
so,
ball or something?
like that guy that got hit with that whatever that wire thing was.
Mhm.
He didn't put it on right because he
Mm.
would not. He'd be screaming. And
Yeah.
one thing we found, and I actually learned this. The guy that originally taught our class was he was a PJ during the Battle of Mogadishu.
Mhm.
And they're the ones that they developed like the junctional tourniquets and stuff like that. And they find like with if you're putting on a tourniquet on like a bicep, oftentimes you're going to need to put in like a Curlex, like a bulky in between,
Yeah.
because what happens is when you put it on, your bicep will roll over.
Mm.
And you're not going to get the actual pressure, because what you're trying to do is right, like you're trying to crimp a hose against something hard, right? So that's also why when you do extremities, you're doing it as high up as you can, because you want to get to that solid single bone. If you do it down on the forearm, the radial ulna, there's tons of space you can still feel and bleed out into. There's still arteries right in there. You're not going to maybe cover. So but this is more of a guarantee that you're going to have a an actual blockage.
As I used to explain to guys when I used to teach this stuff was, imagine you've got a hose, right? It's circular, right? And you're putting it up against the bone, right? And your muscle is pushing it up and flattening it against the bone, right? And that's what's causing the occlusion, because the goal is to stop the bleeding. You want the red stuff to stay in. You don't want the red stuff to go out, right? And so by crimping that hose, you're using muscle to press down on that hose. You're pressing all kinds of material down on that hose to crimp it down, because it's not the actual tourniquet itself that's crimping it down. It's the tourniquet pushing meat and muscle and fascia and everything down onto that tube to crimp
viscerally. Yeah, I mean,
it's like shoving a fat guy on top of a hose, right? He's going to stop it from being able to spray. No offense to any fat guys.
And so
none taken.
One thing that when I teach this, I try to stress, because I put a lot of these on, and I've also taken and had to fix a lot of them on people that have put them on. Now, I would prefer you still put it on, because it still has some, it can slow down the bleed, if that makes sense. But people need to understand the mechanism of how these tourniquets work. Like when we were all kids, we probably learned, like if you guys in the Boy Scouts at all or anything like that, I mean, we learned how to like actually use, like make a tourniquet, right? So
yeah, with like a stick.
Not everybody. And I actually brought some stuff to actually show people, because if you're in a true multi-casualty incident, or you're at a place, like, you're going to run out of tourniquets oftentimes, and you're going to have, or you might not have it. So you need to know how to make a tourniquet, because a belt around that's just a constricting band that does not stop the bleeding.
Right.
And so you cannot get it tight enough to stop the, especially around a thigh. So really quick. So like, let's break down what a tourniquet is, especially, I want to gauge this also to a lot of like the mothers that are watching or whatever, because they can do a ton of stuff, right? Especially if the dad's got hit or something like that. So I'm going to try to break it down so they can understand a little bit more. So you have the actual band on most of these, right? And it's going to be about 2 to 3 inches wide. And the reason why you want that is because you want to increase the surface area, but you want to limit tissue damage, right? Now, you can keep these on. Studies showed over 8 hours. It probably can be even longer than that. But in the end, even if you lose your leg, you're not bleeding to death, right? So I would rather keep, like you said, like Adrian
you're
said,
still alive.
Right. So the significant thing with what was the one you called, snake bit or something?
Snake staff.
And the softie and the cat.
I think I have that same one, Adrian.
Is you have the band, and these are able to be put on by the person, right? So you have this is the main constricting band, and you can either put it in and prep it ready and slide it on, which I don't think you should do, but people do that. And then this is what's actually you need to pull this. I've actually had to put my leg up on a wall or just like yank it until they scream, right? So unfortunately, that's just how it is. And because I've come up where this is not the main constrictor, the windlass. It's a very thin amount of material. It doesn't have a lot of room. If you have to twist this more than 5 times, it should be more like 3, but more than 5 times,
It's too loose.
you haven't put it on tight enough.
Yep.
Because after about 5 times, it's not going to do any more constriction.
Yeah.
And especially if this is soaked in blood and all that kind of thing. So you need to get your main tension on this, and then you want to do 1, 2, 3. Make sure there's no pulse. If there's still a pulse, 2 more, or until you get no more pulse. Or if it did, you got to release it, tighten it back up again. So,
and you're doing this above the injury, of course, right?
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
It used to be like they wanted you to do it 3 to 4 inches above the injury, but I know things go back and forth.
Yeah.
People are constant, but I would recommend to always put it on the
highest and tightest.
the proximal long bone, right? So you want to do it up here, and even if you do it up here, you're gonna bypass that bicep, right? So it's gonna be a little bit easier. You want to do it on here, and you want to do it up on the thigh as high up as you can inside the groin, and crank the heck out of it. And they're gonna scream. I mean, we give pain medicine after it just because you have to, but you really need to do that. Another thing is I recommend carrying at least 6 tourniquets.
6 tourniquets.
It's a lot of tourniquets.
Now, like in my blowout kit, I only have 2, but because I also have a bunch more other places, right, on the ambulance. But the reason is because how many extremities do you have?
Yeah, you got 4, and you might need to double up.
All right, and and oftentimes on the thigh, the lower extremity, you need multiple tourniquets, right? So you need two back to back, right, close to each other. So that's just what I recommend. You can carry 2 to 3 and have some stash somewhere else, but just have 6 at least, right? Also, you might have more patients, right? Like, so you just never know. I mean, that's just my recommendation. You could do whatever the heck you want, but
What about in like a small IFAC? You still think 2 to 3 and something
like if you're doing a small IFAC, man, I would do 2. And then you maybe like
I've got 2 on this one.
Yeah, I mean,
and I just throw this in my backpack.
I mean, it comes down to like reality, right? Like you can't carry it. You're not carrying a freaking med bag everywhere you're going. Like, I mean, unless you're my son, or I mean, we just happen to have it because we put them in our car. We bring them everywhere, and
if you've got 2 and you got some bandages, you can make into some, right? Because bandages are a lot easily storable than some of these items.
So here, you got to dig in.
So when I was learning and becoming a paramedic, it was high and tight, basically. Have it as almost into the shoulder, right, or as deep into the up into the thigh, into almost into the groin. And then I was looking like a year ago, and they're back to the 2 to 3 inches above the wound, right? And I'm like, well, it's like eggs, right? You remember when we were growing up, you weren't supposed to eat eggs because they're too high cholesterol. And then it was, well, now eggs are great for you. It's good cholesterol. And then it was, but they've got a lot of fat too now. And you can't even now. Now it's good fat though. It's good fat.
Yeah. A lot of that stuff's coming out from people who don't do the freaking job, So, I mean, I don't mean to say it that way, but
the reason we know everything we know about these is from the global war on terror. Because there have been times where guys have had tourniquets on for 8 hours. I had a guy in Marja who had it on for 28 hours before we were able to get him out. And he's walking around fine today. It was on his leg. Right.
Actually, I didn't want to say it, but because it piss off the chat, but it actually originally the study came from the Israeli Defense Force. It's always the Jews, man. What's up with that?
It's always the Jews.
So
the orange juice.
So really quick, this is if you want to do, you can tear a shirt. Probably wanted to have something more like a jeans or something a little more rigid. These are triangle bandages. They're literally they're pennies, man. Like I would carry if you couldn't carry tourniquets. And again, tourniquets are flipping expensive, man. Like not everybody can have them. I would have a bunch of these and a bunch of these sticking around, a little dowel that's rigid enough that could do it, right? So what you do is you take it out of the package, right? And this is a perfect width for it. You don't even have to unroll it.
Mm-hmm.
What you do is, and so with these though, the primary constrictor is actually the windlass. All right, that's different than what the other commercial is. Okay, so you're gonna do is you're gonna tie it around the arm. I mean, tie it tight as you can. Is this making sense? Is this coming out? I don't know.
Yeah.
Tie it around the arm, and then you're gonna want to do another loose tie like
To put
this.
the windlass in.
So
Right.
then you put the stick in, right?
Tie that. Yep.
Now, before you start twisting it, open the other one. You should probably have them both open anyways. And you want to have this set up down just lower to where it'll be able to catch the windlass. Then what you do is you use this, make sure it's tight.
Right? You're just using 2 overhand knots.
Right, just 2 overhand. It doesn't need to be any kind of
fancy.
And you're just going to start twisting. And you're going to, and you do it until you feel no longer a distal pulse, right?
What do you mean by distal pulse?
Oh, I'm sorry.
So distal means away.
A pulse is far away from where the injury is. So like distal means away from the body, like distance away from the body, right?
Yep.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't be using those terms.
Don't worry, I'll translate. I'll translate.
And then once you get it to that tension, right? So you have it to that tension, then that's where this comes in, because this has to hold that in place, because you do not want that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And honestly, this tourniquet right here will cost you less than $1.
Yeah.
You know, so you're just gonna have to do that, or at least know how to do it. I mean, you can get sticks from trees. You can get as long as they're like oak or something like that.
Well, that's why, like, I always recommend like metal pins. I just found this in my drawer.
Well, be careful. Yeah, metal pin's good, but be careful. Some of them can break.
But or like just something that's hard and rigid, like
phrasing.
Are we doing that again?
But
I guess so.
so with putting on a tourniquet, Chris, what would indicate a tourniquet needs to be put on? Like, what are people looking at? They're just looking for like a little small scratch, or are they looking like any type of puncture wound? What kind of bleeding?
Right. So initial thing, like, so you want to be looking for, if you cannot, I'm trying to get past the experience. Like, I can just see one. I know I need to turn.
Right.
But,
you just know. Right.
But yeah. So when you come up, if you have a question,
just do it.
Put it on. Right. It's because I don't need you sitting there for 10, 15 minutes trying to hold pressure because you didn't know for sure. Put the dang tourniquet on, because I can always take it off later, or you can take it off later, right? Like, but mainly it seems like if there's a lot of blood, which that's relative, because most people think things are a lot of blood, and let's let you know it's not a lot. But yeah, so honestly, I'd rather people just put it on. If it is, you're mainly doing it for arterial bleeds, if you want to get down to like textbook, and that's usually like bright red blood. You'll see it spurting out like a heartbeat stream. I mean, it's pretty significant. But even like a venous, if you get a large venous rupture, I mean, you may still need that for that too. So in my opinion, it's better just to throw it on quick, because in that case, if you don't put it on correctly, it actually will work even with a venous bleed, because you're doing a constricting band, and that's all really most venous bleeds need, right? So I'd for the layman, and that's kind of what I'm trying to throw at you. I want people not to have to think in these situations, because they're not going to be able to think, right? Like, no one's ever going to be ready for this, no matter how much training, unless we're doing it like Adrian and I were, and like you learn to suppress adrenaline, and it's not the greatest thing for your body, but you just do. But that's also context, right? Like, even though I did it for this long, if I stop doing my job, I'll have an adrenaline dump like you guys, right? When you start, and when an adrenaline dump happens, you lose fine motor skills. I mean, I actually brought out the OODA loop if people want to think about it. But that's the biggest thing. I think people need to learn about the OODA loop, just because these things happen fast. They happen when you're not ready.
Yeah.
The attacker is already 2 steps into, actually 3 steps into the outer loop. So you're already from behind, right? Like,
Yeah.
so, but that doesn't mean you can't still affect things, and you still can't protect yourself. You still can't take care of yourself. The biggest thing you need to do is you're going to have that freeze moment, and you need to make a decision. It's like what I tell all my students, what I tell don't worry if it's a wrong decision.
Just make
because
a
a
decision.
wrong decision can still be fixed.
Yeah.
No decision, people die or you die.
Yeah.
It's like a car, right? Like, you can turn the steering wheel better even in reverse because you're still moving.
Yeah.
So the OODA loop is, for people that don't know, is can you see it? I don't know.
Yep.
Yep.
I don't know if it came out of it. So the first step is you observe something, right? This came out from I think it was the 1950s, a fighter pilot put together for showing decision making in the human process. And it's really dumbed down. There's other ones that they go into more stuff, which to me is stupid, because in a high sensitive adrenaline situation, you don't need complicated, right?
Yeah.
So the first thing is you're going to observe, right? So all of a sudden something's going to happen. You're going to be like, oh crap, whatever. Also known as orient, right? You're orienting, like, what's going on with all this? Actually that's the second. So you observe something happens, right? Then you go to the orient and you're like, okay, is this a danger to me? Is this, can I do something? Do I need to move? What do I need to do? That's kind of, these are the two freezing areas where people are like, they get stuck and they never move on, right? But if you can get past that, literally take a deep breath. It actually helps you quite a bit. Then you're going to move to the decide. You're going to say, okay, I'm going to make that decision. Get out of your mind if it's a wrong decision or a good decision. Just make a freaking decision. And then you need to act and do it. Just start doing it, because you'd be surprised in anything in life. You start moving along and you put your faith in God. As long as you're moving, God will do something with it, So was that too much? Did I go overboard?
No, that was good.
No. Yeah. And that's a good refresher. We went over it a little bit back after the Annunciation.
Yeah.
The Annunciation show. But yeah, I mean, like, what you need to keep in mind is the orient portion of the OODA loop is where your biases come in, right? And your biases are good, right? Like, your gut instinct kicks in. Like, when you look at somebody, you're like, something about this guy makes me uneasy. And most people are going to be like, oh, he's racist. I'm like, no, like, there's a reason. Your gut's telling you something, right? And you need to listen to that. Like, your instincts are kicking in. And that's the orient position of it. You're deciding, is this a threat? Is this not a threat? If it is a threat, how much of a threat it is, right? If it's not a threat, is he going to get in the way if I need to do something? Like, there's a lot of things that you're kind of, gauging around you before you get to that decide portion. And you're saying, okay, what do I do? Do I run? Do I fight back? Do I shove a midget my way? Like, whatever, figure something out, and then you act on it, right? So yeah, no, I agree completely, because making a decision, even if it's wrong, make a decision, because it can, like you said, it can always be fixed. And that was the biggest thing I had with my lieutenants, man, especially if I got a new second lieutenant. Like, they've got no life experience. They've basically went to college and went to OCS and TBS, and that's it, right? And a lot of times when we're on patrol, like, sir, just make a decision and we'll figure it out, right? And once you start getting used to making decisions, it makes it easier to make decisions. It's the issue where you have your wife and she never knows where to go out to eat, right? And you always ask, well, where do you want to go? And I just pray someone finally opens up a restaurant called, I don't know, whatever you want. Right. So we just go there all the time. It'll be fries, like 2 baskets of fries, and that's it. Right. But once you get used to making those decisions, it's a lot easier to make more.
I was actually just talking to one of I'm definitely a lot older than most of the people I work with now. So I get a lot of these young, 20 somethings. And like, we were just talking about this, and a lot of them have said, I'm like, man, like, you just got to make it in life. Like, you offer it to God and make a decision, and you'll be surprised where God takes you, because but that's the thing. We're in a malaise now where no one's they're too afraid to even make that decision.
Mhm.
You know, oh, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. Okay, well, maybe you don't, but you have to do that. And maybe
Yeah.
God will, that thing that you don't want to do is God's ability to say, okay, you were willing to do what I asked you, and now I'm going to take you to where I want you, you know?
Yeah.
And that trust in God is huge. And don't get me wrong, I've messed up a bunch of that, you know. I have life, but honestly, like, I mean, I've never not been a faithful Catholic. I mean, I know I'm kind of dweeb with that, but I've always, like, I would say my rosary on our humps and stuff. I would constantly, like, don't get me wrong, I wasn't always the greatest Catholic, right? But I kept trying, right? I still, to this day, I fall down, right? Like, you're gonna freaking fall down, man. This world
Yeah.
is a test, dude. Like, but if you're too afraid and paralyzed to fall down and don't act, then what are you gonna do? Like, what is that good for you? What is that get? You know, you're constantly hearing all these things from people. Oh, do it this way, do it this way. What? Okay, take that knowledge and screw it, but just do it and you'll figure it out. Like, that's honestly one of the reasons why I joined the military. Like, I counsel people on that all the time. It's like, yeah, like, man, I was in during Clinton, right? And I would honestly have to say it's probably a lot worse than even Obama, because they stole all the money. Like, we would go to things and we'd have to like literally go poo poo because they didn't have any ammo. Well, they didn't have any money for ammo in the Marine Corps, you know, like it was just like, yeah, like it's.
I'm up. He sees me. I'm down.
Yeah, but I didn't go into the military. One, I didn't go into the military to kill people, but I went into the military for an adventure so that I could learn stuff.
Yeah.
So I could have that experience, have that life experience, find it where it went. And I prayed all the time. And if God didn't want me to go, I wouldn't have gone. I mean, I wanted to stay in. I wanted to go to war. God had other plans for me, you know, like, but, and I cannot regret it, because I wouldn't have my family I have now. I wouldn't have, you know, a lot of things, but you know, it's just that OODA can work in real life too, man. Like, just freaking act. You might not be, you don't know all the parameters for everything, but as long as you put it in God's hands and trust in him to say, thy will be done, and take that step forward. Right.
Yeah. Well, it's like Hickman on X, right? He just does things. Right? He just
crazy things, but he does.
Yeah, crazy things. But
I don't know that I don't have X.
And he's fine. So he basically bought like a $20,000 house up in upstate New York, right? And he has no, I mean, bills pretty much. He has, you know, heats his house with a wood stove, and like, you know, he's farming his own food and everything. It doesn't really, I don't even think he has a vehicle, but he's married and has a kid, you know, like he's just like, he's not afraid to do things that are shunned by secular society, right? Like, you need to have that job, and you need to have that, you know, $80,000 car, and, you know, you have that college degree. And like, he's like, no, he's like, I'm just going to have this house that is good and it has good bones to it, and we're going to fix it up. And it's in a downtrodden town, but if everybody moves back to these downtrodden towns, they won't be downtrodden anymore. Right. And so,
but what does that do? Right. Like, I've always loved a fixer upper, because it forces you, you learn, it teaches you, like you've seen we've been literally homesteading, right? And that romantic side of homesteading, just so you know, if you're not ready to have the test of fortitude, it flipping sucks, guys. It's not the TV. Like, it's hard. And the hardest part is watching your wife having to suffer for things. But thank God she's absolutely. But like, yeah, I mean, like my wife and I got to a point in California, like, we knew we would never have a home or have more kids because we just couldn't afford it. And I remember my wife was like, oh, I can't leave my family. I can't leave this. I can't leave that. And I mean, I was the first one out of my house, even though I was the second oldest, and I didn't really put off, you know, I just did what I needed to do. You know, I wanted to do stuff, right? You can't just sit around for things. And so then I remember this one day they were telling us about the job in Texas, and put me in contact with another buddy. And that night we got, you know, we went on a call, my wife was calling to say goodnight. And I was like, hey, I know you don't want to move, but they're telling me about this, blah, 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 blah. And she immediately goes, when can we go? Yeah. And like, I'm like, what? Like, for the last how many years you've been saying, like, you won't go, like, we're stuck here. And I was like, well, you know, and then we set up a thing, and we actually moved. We went out and visited, saw this. I moved my wife and kids out 3 months before, but I didn't even have a job yet. But we prayed about it. I had the money. I was making good money, and I commuted for 3 months. I'd stay in Texas and then fly back for 3 weeks in California. But we did it, right? Like, so many people are like, oh, I don't want to do this too hard. Or I don't want, it's like, yeah, life sucks. Life's hard, man. Like, I can tell you all the things that I don't want to do, but I have to do it, right? Like, but you just got to trust God, man.
No one's going to remember you for the job that you have. No one's going to remember you for the car that you own or the school you went to. They're going to remember you because you're that guy that, decided to go to the rodeo and do the crowd jump on the bull event, right? And he rode it for 3.5 seconds, got thrown off into the fence, got up.
That's my neighbor. He's
awesome.
awesome.
Anyway, right? They're going to remember you as the guy who built every structure on his land with the wood off of his land. They're going to remember you as the guy who constantly, gave himself at the parish. That's what people are going to remember you for the things that you do, whether you do them well or not, right? And just do them, right? And you'll get better, especially when you're younger and your body is much more forgiving. Make mistakes then, because now, I'm almost 45. I'll be 45 in less than 6 months. I just don't have the ability to take some of those risks like I did when I was younger because I do not bounce back. And I've got young kids that I've got to like chase around the house and everything. So I don't have time to get injured anymore. But when you're young, man, make all the bad decisions you can because that's how you learn. No one learns from doing it right the first time. No one. That's not how life works. Right. So
I don't really want to be remembered though. I just want my kids to do.
I do. I want to be remembered by my kids. I want to be.
I want to remember. I want my grandkids to remember me. That's what I want to remember.
Yeah, exactly.
I still haven't figured out the not get injured part though.
Yeah, that's especially on a homestead. I had a cow, an 800-pound cow, stab himself on my foot the other day. That was, and thankfully I got my foot out in time before it did any damage. But my wife has not been so fortunate. She had a bruise on her foot for like 1.5 years.
Oh dang,
it was bad. So let's play that video about the counterfeit tourniquets real quick, and then we'll answer the questions, and then we'll move on to the next item or whatever.
This is a counterfeit Chinese tourniquet test. This is the Amazon special. We're going to try it out to make sure of whether or not it fails, because a lot of people have these in their prepper inventory for first aid and don't realize how dangerous they can actually be. Now, this one has not been tampered with or modified in any way. All I did was stage it so it could be used for immediate use. We're going to go ahead and tighten it down and see if there's any failure point here. But they're having reports of these failing in Ukraine right now. And they're requesting American-made tourniquets because these ones, the Chinese-made ones, are not reliable. Oh my gosh. And it feels so good to give yourself a tourniquet. You should just do it every so often to make sure you feel. Oh, and there we have it. The strap is broken. Look, ready? See that? Complete catastrophic failure right there. These are dangerous. Make sure you get rid of these if you have them because they will fail you. I have a bunch of them because early on they seem like a good deal. They're not a good deal. You'll die from them. So get rid of these unless you want to die.
Exactly. Your life is not worth saving a couple dollars for at all.
Where do you get good tourniquets on?
There's a
North
few different
American,
places.
go ahead. Sorry.
North American Rescue is a good place. And as long as it's North American Rescue supplied, or you get a soft T or a SWAT, right? But cats are the easiest. You're going to pay like $25 for one, right? If you have two, that's $50. And they'll last for a long time. You want to stay away from anything off of Amazon unless it's sold by North American Rescue. Now Amazon has
For the cat, right?
for the cat, for the cat. But Amazon has shut down a lot of these Chinesium tourniquets because of that reason, because they're failing on people and people are dying because of it. So they've really clamped down on it. Being able to find those, but there are some companies who still sell them, and you'll see them for like $5 to $10, and you're gonna think, oh, that's just the same thing. No, it's not. It's not as like he just demonstrated. I've never seen one fail that fast, right? That was pretty quick, but I have seen them fail, and it's just that's not a situation you want to be in where you have a piece of equipment that you're depending your life on, and it fails on you. So, do y'all have anything else on that? And we'll answer some questions real quick.
No.
All right. Let's get to these questions. You want to pull them up, Rob?
Yeah. We kind of went over it already, but what things would be good to improvise a tourniquet with? I know we did the triangular bandage with the wooden doll. What else can people use?
Like, so anything that like the canvas, like jeans was great. Like if you want to tear off some of your jeans, which is another reason why to have some scissors. You just want to have it at least like probably 3 inches thick, or for a width. Make sure it's long enough. That's really what it is. You just need a cloth, a cloth, 2 pieces, right? Because you need to have the one that locks the windlass in. I've honestly, like, I've been out in Boy Scouts and stuff. We've used, like, if we found a rigid oak stick or something like that, or it doesn't even have to be straight as long as it can apply that. Like Adrian was saying, if you get a good metal pin, the biggest thing is the metal pin is it might be just too small for whatever you're using to be able to like tie it down right, and then like once you twist it, can you lock it in, right? So just consider those kind of things. I know a lot of people have those, like, what's those, like those tactical pins or whatever, like, those are kind of long enough. I mean, they're still metal, which you also have to worry about if it's a cheap aluminum, it might crimp, yeah, exactly. But mainly you'd really want it long enough. Like this one's probably a little bit too long, but I mean but something within that size, even just a little bit shorter, you probably want at least this is 6 inches, right?
Hey, that looks
It's
huge.
probably 8. It's probably 8 to 10.
So you want it probably close to Caucasian.
That's what I said too.
Yeah. So
Close to what?
nothing.
Some things I would stay away from to make tourniquets out of: any type of surgical tubing, any type of stretching material, right?
And why?
Belts. I would
Why?
not do belts.
No, you can. Well, actually, Kevin, you can use a belt as long as it. And I have used belts as long as you can. Again, as long as it's at least 2 finger widths, 2 to 3 finger widths, and you can actually twist it. Don't use like the ratchet on it, like you were saying, right? Like you can use the belt, don't use the ratchet on it, and you can use a secondary belt to tie it down. I've done that too.
Yeah.
So
I think the issue with a lot of belts, especially guys in our space who have like EDC belts, right? They're kind of rigid. You're not gonna be able to get a windlass in those, right? Now, if you have like one of the old like canvas belts, maybe.
I got a rigid. Yeah, I'll take it off. It's semi-rigid, right? But I mean, as long as you can keep that main constricting around it, right? So it's instead of like bunching up into like, because you like, especially with the surgical tubing, all that kind of stuff. One, the smaller diameter, it literally will cause tissue, cause even more stuff, and it's going to be really hard to like confirm whether or not you're actually cutting out blood or stuff. So
yeah, absolutely. Let's see what else we got.
What are the differences between a constricting band and a tourniquet?
A constricting band basically is like, when they put a tourniquet, they call it a tourniquet around your arm when you draw your blood. All that's doing is restricting venous bleeding, right? And what that's also doing is it's building up the blood. So you still have arterial flow going through, and that allows the vessel to pop up for you so they can get the stick, A tourniquet actually goes and cuts off arterial bleeding. Okay. Now, also, as a caveat, you have to also consider, like with the femur and the humerus, they have a cavity that flows blood. So if you have a severed femur or you can't tourniquet that. Does that make sense? Or you have to try to find some way to go up higher. Like you might have to go to the subclavian, and you can do like you can get like a monster can or something. I say monster. You can do a Coke can too.
Probably. A full white monster.
It has to be a full white monster. It can't be and like basically try to do it that way, kind of like with the in the pelvic region for a junctional. I mean, also like if it's open, I would just shove my fingers in there and try to restrict the bleeding. I had a stabbing I had to do that. You brush, you go in there, you find that. I mean, you just gotta. You want to save their life, right? Like, so you go in there and just like kind of hold in and just press, because your subclavian is right, right below your clavicle, and you can actually press it up into the clavicle. So,
did you ever see the guy from the Kentucky Ballistics show?
Yeah,
who had the BMG blow up on him, and he basically had to shove his thumb into his neck.
Yeah,
to
there's
provide
a
pressure.
great video on that. Like it was a hockey player. Like it was some weird freak thing where the guy hit the got the goal and his skate came up and lacerated his carotid, and their doctor ran, and you just see it like spurting, right? Like and the doctor ran from the sideline, the box, and immediately went in and shoved his fingers in there and saved his life. And
Nice.
he said the guy had been either a corpsman or a combat medic in Vietnam and had done that multiple times.
Mhm.
And they're like, if he hadn't been their doctor, the dude would have died, you know? So like, yeah.
Well, and we talked about that with the Charlie Kirk shooting, right?
Yeah.
Once you saw that shot and you saw that initial like gallon of blood, he's gone. Like there's no way.
That was, and I was like looking back, I think this is all my opinion, but I think it hit the jugular, it didn't hit the carotid because it did not spurt. Like, I mean, trust me, you know, an arterial breathe, that thing would have shot out like a spray, like a hose line. And it was just a gush. So he had immediate deep perfusion of the cranial cavity, but it was a venous blood. So it would have just nicked the EJ or the IJ, probably the EJ, and it just dumped because it was dark blood. It wasn't, darker blood. It wasn't red. I mean, you could you could tell the difference even from that distance, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly.
As a windlass, can empty or full mags do the trick as a windlass?
I mean, I don't see why not. The only thing is like,
it's pretty big. You're gonna need a lot more extra claw.
It's just gonna suck. Yeah, you're gonna have extra claw, correct? Yeah. So I mean, if that's what you got, but honestly, like, come on, man, there's got to be a stick somewhere or something, you know? Like, I mean, get a hammer, get a friggin' pliers or something. You gotta have. Oh, here you go. How many of you guys carry like E-tool or a Leatherman's?
Yeah,
Leatherman. You know, like
something rigid that won't bend,
or even a pocket knife, right?
Yeah, technically, or like a
like looking around
something like this as a windlass.
Yeah, absolutely.
I got trauma shears. You could use
trauma
that.
shears, yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Just anything rigid.
As long as you know the basic mechanics of what's required, like
anything.
I mean, that's the thing is like just figure out. You really need to know figure out how to find pulses and stuff. But I want to like stress it. One thing also people can know is the cap refill thing. You know, if you squeeze the bed of your nail, as long as it turns back to pink within under 2 seconds, you got good blood. I mean, it can kind of work when you're putting a tourniquet. Unfortunately, you're doing it so far away, and even if a constriction band, it'll slow that down. So, like even a blood pressure cuff can slow that down. So yes, a buck knife would work. Somebody said that.
A lot of other questions are kind of about other items in a first aid kit, so maybe we want to move on after this one.
Are we talking about Teffy? Are we talking about the 1 inch or 1.5 inch on a tourniquet? Because you want it wide. You want it about 2 inches. You want it as wide as you can get, if that's what you're talking about. Let us know in the chat.
Because like most belt size, like your average belt size is 1.5 inch.
Yeah, this is 1.5 inch. So
the wider you can get, the better.
Yeah. I mean, having it 1.5 inches also, it can be beneficial, especially on the arm, because in case you have to put 2 on. But you don't normally have to put 2 on. Normally, when people are having to put 2 on an upper extremity, it's because they didn't put the first one on right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So but the thigh, that can be a thing, just because there's so much mass in your thigh, and in the United States, more people have more mass in those thighs than others, right? Hey, sorry.
So, Chris, let's move on a little bit. What about that's not an extremity? Say we've got a puncture wound or some type of laceration in the box, right? So anywhere in the chest.
So non-compressible kind of things.
Yeah.
Or so.
I mean, your first goal always is to put pressure on it, right, and see if it stops with that. Unless it's a puncture wound.
Not in the chest, though, right?
Yeah.
Right. So we differentiate bleeds from compressible, meaning you could press on them, and it could potentially stop it. Excuse me. Or you have non-compressible, right, which is in the torso, the thoracic cavity, right? So belly wounds, right? chest cavity. If you have anything above the rib cage, I would immediately, if you got a hole, you plug it with a chest seal, and it's basically. I don't want to open mine, but
Here, well,
this is the ones. This is the ones we use. This is the ones that most people use. Hyphen. There you go. Well, actually, this one's already open. I have to go talk to my son about that. So a chest seal is basically it. It's all. I guess someone messed with it. It's basically a plastic seal with a bunch of gel adhesive that's going to stick over the wound, right? Because let me see. So first thing is, if you have someone shot, right, you need to find the wounds, right? So we call it stripping and flipping. So like when your mom always said, wear clean underwear you go outside, doesn't really matter because we're gonna take it all off. So you literally have to cut off all their clothes and look at their back, look at their, because bullets do weird things, man. Like, and so you want to find those holes, because if you plug the one out here, but then they're leaking out the back or out the side of the neck or something, there's no point, right? So you want to make sure you have it. Put the chest seals on it. That'll at least plug it in, so it'll be bleeding on the internally, right? Something like upwards, in the like lung region. Just be aware if they start developing things like having real trouble breathing. What you want to do is kind of take off that chest seal for a bit, so that air can be released in case of the potential collapsed lung, and that can reinflate it hopefully, and then put it back, right? Now that's secondary. Just keep it there, right? Like, don't cut my scapula. But you'll do that. Abdominal wounds, there's not really much you can do for those. Just make sure if there's stuff sticking out, make sure you push it back in, or make sure it's wet. You want to keep that wet.
And you can make them out of things. Right? If you've got a Ziploc bag and some tape,
right,
you can make a chest seal out of it. If you run out of chest seals, you can use the packaging the chest seal comes in with some tape.
Right. Yeah. What is it? What we used to taught in the Marine Corps, right? We get the compression bandage plastic for the sucking chest wound, and because it was supposed to be sterile on the inside, but honestly, who gives a crap about sterility when you're trying to save someone's life? And then you'd put that down, and then you tape that on top with a bulky dressing, right? You can use the plastic. You can use this plastic and these wraps, if you want to.
Yeah.
You're just trying to make sure stuff stays inside.
Anything that's non-permeable, you can use in MRE packaging. Like there's a whole anything that you just can't get through.
A Lunchables cover. What else? That's another thing. Before we got we got our supply. We would often use AED pads. So you just tear off the wires. Unfortunately, in a mass casualty, you may need an AED, but unfortunately, we usually don't resuscitate in a mass casualty. If you're dead, you're dead. You stay dead. So
let me ask your opinion on this, because it's been when I was I was still doing this. It was kind of argumented. Was if you got in the neck, a wound in the neck, because you can't put a tourniquet on a neck. I mean, you can, but
some people I want to put a tourniquet on, but
yeah. Are you putting an occlusive dressing on the neck too?
I mean, you can. I honestly, in the neck, I'd be packing the wound, or I'd reach in and see if I can catch the artery, and then occlude it, or I'd put in some hemostats in there and clamp it off. But yeah, normally I'd pack it. That's kind of actually that's what we were talking. What are your thoughts on the quick clot stuff?
I like the gauze. I don't like the powder.
Yeah,
because especially in civilian medicine, as we were both in,
you're talking about like this sort of
the
stuff?
powder, they have to go in and surgically remove.
Yeah, Cheeto gauze.
Yeah. So the gauze. So the gauze, I can see definitely a benefit to, because you're still putting it into the wound, right? Yeah. The powder, what you're trying to do is you're trying to make a clot, right? So you can't confirm you got a clot just by dumping that stuff in. Plus, if you've ever put that on somebody, it flipping hurts, man. It burns tissue. It actually damages tissue.
Yeah.
Surgeons hate it. It's just very hard to get all that out. Whereas if you have the gauze, it has that impregnated, so it's assisting the packing, right? And so by you packing it, you confirming your fingers are in there, you're confirming you're putting it in, and you're basically turning that big old thing into a clot, and having those extra factors in there, just it increases your chances, so well, and when they go to surgery, all they literally do is grab it and just start pulling it out, so it's like.
And I know we didn't use it at the department I was at because you never know if somebody's going to have a shellfish allergy, right? Because you can't use that on somebody with a
it depends. Well, it depends. Some of them have they're like, I don't know if they've gone away from the potato starch. There's some other stuff, but yeah, honestly, I mean, we like our SWAT medics have it. But even they would use wound packing. We race on cadavers and see how fast, because you can they put in bloodlines so that we have fluid going. We try to pack and you can actually pack really fast. Like you can get as good as you can probably pack a wound as fast as someone put a tourniquet on. So
yeah. Did you ever do you never did the pig sticking course?
No.
Man, that was invaluable.
Yeah.
So let me kind of just break down what the pig sticking course was in the Marines for those that are maybe not familiar. So in the Marines, before we went overseas and went to Afghanistan or Iraq, when you knew you were going to be going outside the wire, you were required to take a course where basically they put a pig and kept it under anesthesia, basically keeping it asleep.
Yeah, they all have a vet, right?
They had a vet there. And I think they had it in propofol and something else. But anyway, and they would shoot it, stab it, all kinds of stuff, and you'd have to go in and fix it, right? And you would do it throughout the day. Like this one pig would get shot, stabbed, blown up, whatever, and you'd have to fix it. And I remember we got a lot of flack for it because it was dangerous for animals. But that saved so many lives in Afghanistan because we knew what to actually do.
Yeah.
Because what they would do is you would turn away from the pig, and then you'd hear the gunshot go off, or you'd hear nothing, which means he got stabbed. And then you got to find where it was stabbed, because fighting stab wounds can be really hard sometimes.
I freaking hate stab wounds,
and they're like, all right, turn around, and you got to fix it, right? So you're doing whatever you can. You're throwing tourniquets on, you're packing wounds, whatever, putting occlusive dressings on. But I tell you, the one thing that I remember from that the most is when we had the pig opened up, and all they did was put a little nick on the aorta, or on the aorta, right? I'm blanking on anatomy here. Yeah, and it filled up that cavity.
They put on he probably would still bled out of the aorta. You mean maybe the vena cava? He probably did the vena cava.
It filled up that cavity in 5 seconds.
Yeah, the vena cava will still do it. It's just, if you do an artery, that's under such high pressure that, you hit the aorta, you're bled out in less than 30 seconds. So it's
it was insane how quickly it bled out.
Yeah, that commander was telling you that taught us the tourniquets and was in Mogadishu. He was a PJ, all that stuff. He now does he works for the company that goes around and does all that stuff. So I always thought it's a perfect thing if you've never seen those things, right? As of now, I don't really need a pig class because I've seen enough. But but yeah, I remember. I don't know. Should I tell a war story? I don't know.
Go for it, man. I will say the one thing that I still find funny is when I still see guys like Navy SEALs telling you should carry a tampon on you to plug gun wounds with.
Yeah. Well, I kind of argue for that in some, if that's all you have, because the biggest problem with a tampon though is it's meant to soak up blood, right? And so but eventually it gets saturated and that will clot, so it still will work like a packing. Unfortunately,
not fast enough.
Right. I think it's if that's all you have, I don't think it's as bad as everyone goes out to be. I still think you should pack a wound with this and stuff,
Yeah. What was that?
Okay, I'm sorry. We call it Curlex. It's basically a big bulky dressing. I I like these. I carry these around. You can use it for bandaging, holding a dressing in place. Use it for wound packing. What I like a lot of is if I have a major bleed or something on trauma, I'll actually take it out and use the whole roll, shove it on the wound, and then wrap it to it. Because now I already have a bulky dressing. There's no point of unraveling it when I can get some sort of Coban elastic tape to go around it, because that's a perfect bulky dressing in one big old thing. So I'll immediately just like, if I have a wound here or something, or a wound in the arm, I'll just do it like that and wrap it in, and I don't even have to. I'll take it out of the package first, obviously, but yeah, these are really good for a lot of things. You can do a lot of things with them.
So when you say wound packing, what exactly do you mean, and what's the point of it? What are you trying to accomplish with it?
So I kind of made up something. This is some pig skin or whatever. So say you have a laceration and it's constantly bleeding out here. You have, depending on where you have a lot of tissue in there, it can get in. Like you can bleed out 3 liters, I think, or more of blood just into your thigh. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to get a clot made. So by packing it, you're decreasing the volume of that whole, whatever hydrostatic pressure is made, whatever anything has been going on, and you're giving it like a matrix. You're giving it an ability for the clotting factors to go and clot, right? Okay. So you're basically initially going to sorry, it's kind of hard to do on this screen. You want to get in there and you want to take your gauze, keep your one finger in there, and you're just going to start pushing it in there. Take this gauze, push it in there, get as deep as you can. Just keep going, and you can do it.
You're just shoving,
and you're just shoving and shoving until you cannot get any more on, and then take this and wrap it around, and advise, and then So and then constantly be checking pulses, constantly be checking all that kind of stuff. So.
And you're doing that for wounds you can't tourniquet, right?
Correct. Or even a really good. I mean, I do it for a really heavy venous bleed, but yeah, for things you can't tourniquet. So like a lot of pelvic cavity kind of things, or pelvic girdle kind of stuff. So yeah, we would do it in like where we practice it was mainly the thigh. The thigh is really the biggest place because like especially like a stab wound, you might be able to just block it off with just packing it,
Okay. Yeah. And you recommend that bulky dressing for that?
Oh, 100%. That's what they use in the hospitals and what we use. Yeah. Sorry, I'm kind of going fast, aren't I?
No, it's okay.
Listen, I'm looking through my iPad. What else we want to go through?
I mean, so I have one that I just bought as is, right? So I don't know how much of this stuff is worth it or not. So I have the tourniquet. I have the hyphen vent chest seals. How many chest seals do you recommend?
I would at least have 2, right? Because in case because you're not always going to have entrance and exit, right? To make sure Joey Diodati knows that. So just kidding. He commented on that.
And remember, like one chest seal or 2 chest seals can actually be 4 because you can use the packaging.
Okay.
So also have tape. I keep.
So yeah, mine came
a little more expensive, but I use transport tape. It's like IV tape, but this will stick through blood and everything, and it's got little holes in it. It's a lot more stickier. They do have other type, like a lot of the cloth tape isn't the best unless you get like at least a 2-inch thickness, so you can get more surface area for contact for the adhesive.
Mine came with NAR flat tape, 2 inches wide.
Oh, perfect. That's actually really good. I have that. It's like surgical surgical tape. So it's kind of like a cloth, extra adhesive, almost like a steri strip.
Okay.
I have a bunch of rolls of that from when I worked in the OR.
I know we had talked a little bit about so I have that Cheeto gauze, but then it also came with hemostat gauze dressing.
Yeah, so and that's fine. That just means you're covering it up, and any leakage out, it'll get the material that causes the clot for you.
Let's see here. What else I got? Some compressed gauze. I mean, that's just normal gauze, I would imagine. Just
The compressed gauze can be used for wound packing. That's perfect. That's what.
okay. 4-inch emergency trauma dressing.
Yep, that's like a pressure dressing,
Okay. And then
kind of like an Israeli dressing. Sorry, guys.
what is an Esmark bandage?
Let me see. Can you open it?
It feels like silicone rubber, almost.
Oh, okay. It's basically you're using that as a pressure, like so. You'll use the bulky trauma dressing.
Yeah.
You'll slap that on, and you'll use that. You can use that like around the chest. Remember, like those old Vietnam pictures of the guys with the big pressure dressing on, and they have the straps. You can use that for that. You can I actually use. I don't tell people to carry this but where did I put it? I keep 6-7 inch elastic bandage. Elastic bandage is great for so many things, especially holding in dressing. So that's basically what that is. Unfortunately, I think it looks like you might have to tie that one. It doesn't have any kind of like clip retainers or anything.
No, nothing like that.
So you just have to tie it like a knot, which is actually good because then you can get a significant pressure on it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The big thing I also like doing with the elastic bandages is I'll bandage up my wounds and then I'll put the elastic bandage on with an ice pack or something like that, which helps decrease bleeding and stuff like that.
So that's everything that was in that kit. What else would you recommend?
I would get
more tourniquets. Obviously, you said 2.
Yeah.
This one only came with 1.
And you what are you wanting to use this for? Like,
well, so this was basically an IFAC that I had put in the front pocket of my fanny pack.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, just something like that.
So like an everyday use maybe thing, or
yeah,
in case or you want, because that's specific. A lot of that stuff can be basically specific for like a blowout or any kind of like major trauma, but you don't use that every day, right? So what you normally want to be having is, like I said, I get a little Ziploc, those little small bags, and put some like Tylenol and ibuprofen in there. If you're going to use any kind of like ointment or triple antibiotic, I would make sure you have the ointment. Don't use the cream. The ointment is actually, for like a lot of wounds, they'll actually just let the wound be open after they flushed it, and they'll actually have you put lanolin gel after dressing changes every couple days, because the ointment actually keeps dirt from coming in, keeps it almost sterile. So I maybe keep that around. That's really good for like little small cuts. The biggest thing is cleaning out wounds, soap and water, flushing them with a lot of water, and then putting, drying it a little bit. But you want to keep the wound actually a little bit moist for a while, because that helps the circulation, helps the regrowth of the tissue. I know back old days used to be, you wanted to get a scab. It's like, well, yeah, eventually you do, but the longer you can not have a scab, especially with like deeper injuries, the better, if that makes sense. I'd also throw in actually some super glue.
Okay.
Which is super easy to get, right? I know they have medical super glue. It's a little bit different. They made it because supposedly super glue can like heat up and cause other damage. But honestly, like, I've fixed tons of lacerations on myself and family, and the medical safe one just doesn't always stick, if that makes sense. Like, so
just normal super glue.
I like liquid Band-Aid.
Yeah, liquid Band-Aid.
It burns so bad, but it's burning because it's working.
Yeah. But yeah, I literally just go to like Harbor Freight or Walmart and just get and I keep a bunch of those in all my first aid kits. They work great. Maybe get some steri. Do they have steri strips? They had the cloth tape that would kind of work, because that's kind of like a butterfly bandage to pull like a laceration together. So I'm thinking, did you have scissors in there?
No,
Yeah, get some scissors, brother.
I do have some
Yeah.
some surgical shears.
They're literally like those trauma shears. You can get like a pair of them for like $9 on Amazon or eBay or something like that. They're pretty easy to get, and they work. You can cut a penny with them, even the cheap ones. So I mean, they work good.
What would you need those for like what would that likely be used for? I mean,
exposing wounds, cutting material to make more
cutting
tourniquets,
clothes off.
all that kind of stuff. Like you have to expose the wounds. You have to cut the clothes.
I like these. These are called rip shears, because the thing I hated the most when I was a paramedic was actually cutting up someone's. So I would make a small slit and then I would turn it around and it's got a blade here and I would just run it across and just cut it all. It's kind of like, wrapping paper cutter, right?
Yeah.
You just run it and I can cut their clothes off real fast.
That's funny. Like literally like 3 days ago, I had a really young medic and he was just like sitting. I'm like, dude, we need to strip and flip him. We got to get him up. Go. And he started. I'm like, literally with clothes, especially the way they make clothes now, you just have to do one snip and you just tear it, right? You got to cut where the neck is, like this part, and maybe this, and then you just tear the whole clothes. But then you also have to cut through like you're wearing jeans, right? You got to cut through those. You got to cut the shoes off. You cut everything off. Cut belts off is a big thing, Yeah, you'd be surprised how often you would use those scissors, Rob. So that's definitely a need, I think, in any kind of thing. So I've had to use knives. It's not always the safest, when you're.
So if you think about it, say you go into a situation where there's been an active shooter and you see somebody in the ground, right? And you don't see an immediate bleeding on somebody, but they're down, they're not getting up, right? First thing you're going to do is you want to, we used to call it the blood sweep, right? Or the blood hug, right? You want to kind of put your arms underneath them, see if there's any blood come out the backside too. You're looking at your hands, see if you got any blood on your hands, right?
Or just roll them over.
Yeah, roll them over, right? And you can check that way too. But first thing you want to look for is like any type of massive bleeding, because nothing else matters at all. It doesn't matter if they're breathing or anything else. If they're massively bleeding and you don't stop that, they're not going to live, no matter what, right? So the first thing you always want to stop is a massive bleeding. Now, how much we want to get into the nitty gritty of checking airways, right? You can always do the head tilt chin lift method or whatever.
I think for this, like the march is just kind of, you can go that later. I mean, you just need to stop in these situations. Like imagine like a church shooting, right? Like, and I'm talking to the moms, right? Like just do what you can, grab your kids around. Anybody's injured, just start telling them, start doing stuff. Let's start taking care of this. Keep yourself protected, get into a safe position, and just start fixing stuff. Don't worry. I mean, the other stuff's going to come and go. Don't worry about CPR stuff. Like we can go over chest compression. It's only CPR because that's really all you're going to need to do. But yeah, unfortunately, you're going to have to cut them out. Now, I need to caveat this because yes, we strip and flip the people, right? So there's a thing called a trauma triad. Do you know about this, Adrian? The trauma triad? Yeah. So what's going to kill people is they can't clot their blood, right? So one of the things is hypothermia, hypoxia, and high pH, right? So you can't fix the pH. The hypoxia you can fix with oxygen, but that's only happening because they're bleeding out. And what happens is when they get hypothermic, they stop clotting. When they get hypoxic, they stop clotting. When their pH gets too stop clotting. So once you strip and flip them, the next thing, as soon as you found, don't worry about it till you found and stopped the bleeding, but you need to start warming them up because almost everybody like in the combat zones, all that stuff, they'd be in the middle of the desert. It'd be 110, 20 degrees. And they'd be hypothermic because they're losing blood, right? So, but you need to strip and flip them because none of that matters if you haven't plugged the hole.
So do you recommend having like some of those emergency space blankets in your kit?
100%. Yeah, we use the yellow space blankets. We turn the heaters on. even at 100-degree temperature outside, we will have the back of the ambulance blowing hot heater. So
because I have 3-4 of those in like a backpack anytime I go out, hunting or hiking in the woods or something. But I've never thought about putting those into specifically into a first aid kit.
and honestly, like, and fluoride a blowout kit, it's probably important now. But also understand, like, those blankets rely on your own body heat, and they're already having issues. So I would still do it, and then I would maybe put another blanket over top of them. Does that make sense? Or maybe put a blanket over them and then that, so they don't lose that heat. Does that make sense?
Right.
But even like, give them a sweatshirt, give them your clothes, give them,
Right.
you know, like, I mean, I know you live in the winter place. Like, I'm sure you have tons of other stuff, you know, like.
I live in Frozen. Yes, you're
You
right.
live in Frozen.
You're right.
You guys have antelope and or reindeer and stuff.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I know we're throwing a lot of this stuff out there, and I know it scares people, and they want to learn, they don't want to be, but they're not going to be ready. Like, take what we're giving you. It's basic. Just stop the bleeding, find the injury, and stop the bleeding, and get to safety. Actually, probably get to safety first, but you know, I don't want to freeze people with the knowledge, because they could still do amazing things by getting to safety and stopping the bleeding. It's not.
And there's a lot of good resources if y'all want to take classes. You know, Dark Angel Medical out of Texas is really good. You've got Refuge Medical, which does some really good training. Or if you could just find somebody at your parish, maybe who is a paramedic, right? And they could put on a quick TCCC course, right?
Or a cop. A lot of cops have it now. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no reason, if you're really interested in this stuff, not learning about it. Right. But if you just know how, like Chris was saying, if you just know how to stop any type of bleeding first, you know, that you're already well ahead of the game, and being able to operate under stress is a good test. If you can do some type of training with your security team that's being established, because I'm seeing it all over the place right now, where security teams are being put up everywhere. I've got a parish just north of me. I never thought this priest would do it, but he's establishing one.
Samantha wanted to know about wound closures. Just get threaded a needle.
Sutures.
Yeah, it shit hits the fan.
You got a stapler in the car?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, those staplers they're like $10 a piece. I mean, but they're one-time use. But I mean, but if you can sew, you can suture. It's not hard. Like, are you gonna be doing plastic surgery and doing deep wound? No, like, but just, you can stitch it up. You can keep it clean. I mean, but the biggest thing with that is you must clean the crap out of that wound. You need to make sure as much dirt as you can gets out of there. And even that, probably put in the petroleum jelly or the lanolin jelly in there, and once you suture it up, you know, because that'll all absorb in and stuff. So.
You'd realistically only be doing that in a scenario where you're not likely to have other medical attention for.
Right. She said for when shit hits the fan.
Right. Okay.
We can have a whole nother story of that.
Yeah.
I got a lot of stuff on that. Sorry.
Let's see what other questions we have here. So you talked about having Tylenol and ibuprofen. I guess for those who don't know, what are the differences? What would each be used for? And then someone asked, how long do those type of painkillers last? And are they still viable after the expiration dates?
Yes, they're completely viable after the expiration dates for a long, long time. I was working in a pharmacy when FDA made the 2-year, and that's just basically for drug companies to make more money. So anything that's in a pill form is going to last for a long time. There might be a minor decrease in ability. So we give on the ambulance, and it's because of a 20-year study that Tylenol and ibuprofen are better than any kind of narcotic pain reliever. Especially since like all those pain, like hydrocodone, Vicodin, OxyContin, they all have Tylenol in them, right? So Tylenol is the actual analgesic pain killer. That's the one that goes to the actual nerve ending and blocks the pain. The opiates that go in there involved it's just so you don't care, right? Basically, you can handle the pain, because about 40% of pain is fear, anxiety. And you know, because they think of, oh, what is it? What's happening? Am I going to get where it starts precipitating and you're in hurting, right?
Yeah.
If you can knock that out, then the pain isn't as hard, right? So
My
so
wife's first C-section.
Mhm.
So she has a crushed disc in her back, and she was
Oh,
going to
bummer.
do a vaginal birth originally. So they did the epidural, but then when they decided to do an emergency section, they had to do the spinal block, and they
Yeah.
decided to push the spinal block in right with the epidural where they had done that. Well, I guess that was right where she had the crushed discs, and that extra pressure on those discs she felt like she was being bisected,
Yeah.
right where that was happening, and it threw her into a panic attack because of all the pain. So they gave her Versed, and she was still in pain. She doesn't remember it at all
Yeah.
anymore. At
Yeah,
one
because it has
point.
it has an amnesic effect, and that's one of the things. Like, so we would like when you go to a surgery, they'll give you like a benzo, Versed's a big one, Valium, propofol will do it. They call it the milk of amnesia because they cause amnesia, right? So when you go through an injury or a surgery, your body has a normal response, right? So if you can block that with amnesia, it actually it decreases healing time. It actually improves your outcome, and because you don't have those, your body's being shocked, believing it's not having these other traumas to it. Does that make sense? So back to the Tylenol and ibuprofen. Tylenol is a true analgesic, meaning a pain killer. It also does things like it's an antipyretic, which lowers your temperature for fevers. And it does that through, it slows your metabolism down, which can be good for a lot of different things. I often take it just to kind of help myself sleep because it can bring myself down to sleep temperature quicker. I tend to not sleep very well or ever. So that helps. And ibuprofen is a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory, which saying it's a non-steroidal, it's just not a derivative of steroid, but it does almost the exact same thing, stopping prostaglandin release. So that is an anti-inflammatory, meaning that so it goes at your pain a different way. So whereas the analgesic goes directly to the nerve ending, blocking that pain response, acetylcholine and all that stuff, causing the nerve action to go. Ibuprofen will decrease the swelling, block the inflammatory response so that that swelling that would normally be causing you the pain isn't there. So we give both those together because you don't know what's causing the pain and it still can help, right? Because a lot of those prostaglandins, pretty much everything's inflammatory response, right? Any kind of issue, any kind of illness, it's an inflammatory response. So just like you can take ibuprofen for allergies, it's actually great for allergies because it stops a lot of things like that. So so I would take from those. Another thing I'd also add, and I don't know why I didn't say it before because I use it a lot, is diphenhydramine, which is
Benadryl.
Benadryl, right? So Benadryl is amazing for when it's given with like Tylenol or ibuprofen, because back to the anxiety, the fear response, it stops that. On top of that, it's an antiemetic, meaning it stops vomiting, nausea. It's also, it can actually, if you have any kind of gastrointestinal pain, like stomach pain, rectal pain, it'll stop that because it stops the spasms, and that's what's causing the pain. So having those 3 pills or those 3 medicines is probably one of the biggest things you can do, if that makes sense. And I mean, a Benadryl, maybe give liquid because you can give it for, because oftentimes when people, they can't swallow pills, but you can put it in the gum line and it'll absorb or it'll leak down through the throat. So you can actually put it just on the tongue and you can absorb almost as fast as an IV, or an IM injection. So
as far as the Tylenol and ibuprofen, if someone's unable to swallow those pills, how do you administer them?
I don't know if I can say it on there.
Okay,
no, I'm just,
I get that.
no, you can actually crush them up and put them in like maybe keep around like a syringe or something, an empty syringe, and then you can crush it up, throw it in there, put some water or some juice in there, shake it up, and then just and make sure if you do it, you do on the side of the gums, kind of like when you're giving medicine to a kid, so it'll kind of like absorb still, and just like you don't want to make them gag and throw up, but you can't do it the other way. That I can't say.
Yeah.
Still in pill form, right? Just
Yeah, you can do it the college frat way, I guess. If we feel it.
oh my gosh.
Sorry, I can get really bad. I'm sorry. It's the whiskey.
He's drinking it through the mask. I don't think y'all are noticing this.
Daddy, why does my Shrek mask smell like whiskey?
All right.
I'm not too complicated, am I?
No, you're fine. And a lot of this is just introduction because I want people to just be able to have a cursory knowledge of what they need to have, the things that they're most worried about, right?
Yeah.
Especially in these situations that keep popping off. Because you're not worried about, an anaphylactic shock in a shooting, right? Like we're not worried about that, right? We're worried about, hey, we need to stop this blood from coming out of the body, and we need to keep them warm. That way they're able to stay alive, because you're not dead until you're warm and dead, right?
Yeah.
So this is really the biggest thing I wanted to go over, and kind of go over some things that we keep in here, because you can make an IFAC out of anything. This is a pouch I just bought and stuffed it with a bunch of stuff that I like, and I just keep it in my backpack. And when it's not in my backpack, it's in the back seat or it's behind my driver's seat, right? Because I don't always keep it in my backpack, but I'm always near my car.
You can find perfect cheap pouches at like any military surplus too.
Yeah.
And like fishing tackle, little small tackle boxes, those are great for things, especially like holding pills and stuff. I mean, I know we're doing all this to try to save like trauma, but I mean, do you guys still have that video I did like 5 years ago? And I actually broke out my whole first aid kit and tried to explain stuff. I mean, I could do it again probably and send it to you. And
I'm sure it's
but I mean,
in
that's
the Telegram. We'll look for it.
All right, because I mean, honestly, like moms and dad, like we get called for things that they should have never called an ambulance for. People just don't like the joke in school is always, oh, you're gonna go on that 3 a.m. toe pain, and I'm like, yeah, you will, because I just did one. Like I've done they literally, oh, my toe's been hurting. How many days? 3 days. Well, what did you do about it? Oh, nothing. I called you at 3 a.m. Like it's like, and I'm not trying to like, I still take care of them, but it's like, I know moms and dads just want to be able to take care of their kids, right? Like they don't take care of their family. Like, and honestly, like I've always been kind of a cynical or prepper kind of guy. Like I think that time's coming faster than people realize. That we need to start learning how to take care of each other and take care of our own, like, so, I mean, having a first aid, having medical stuff, like, which is honestly what most people used to know. Like I was telling somebody on the Telegram the other day, like I remember sitting in my EMT class, the first basic class or whatever, and they're teaching splinting and bandaging, and people were just like, oh, like asking these questions, and I was just looking around going, you guys don't know how to do this? Like I learned that when I was like 5 and 6 years old, like in Cub Scouts, like, and that's what people used to do, right? Like when they lived in that they were self, but now everyone's so scared. They want someone else to make that decision for them. And that's not their fault in a way. Like it's just the way society has, these phones we have, like constantly keeps people in constant fear all the time. So, and I honestly just want to take on people to take care of, like I like taking care of people. I like educating them, and it's out there, they can do it. They just have to get the info.
Yeah.
Have you ever thought about putting on training classes?
I used to actually have a business. Like I used to
really?
teach first aid, CPR, ACLS, and I'd love to. I mean, I would do it for people. I'd love to do it. I even go to like I told, I put together a whole action plan, security action plan for Alex for his church and school, and sent it to him. So I guess they're still reviewing it. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to do it. Dude, if you can give me a cot in a closet somewhere, I'd go teach some stuff. So.
And some whiskey.
And some whiskey.
I should have had you teach a class after the baptism yesterday.
Yeah, right.
I should have flown you up and
awesome.
done that.
That'd have been awesome. That'd have been awesome.
This is how we deliver a baby for those of you that are going to baptize in the future.
Yeah, you catch.
That's really.
All I do is catch. Oh, you delivered a baby? I caught it. Like the mom does all delivering.
With how far we live from the hospital, that is a very real possibility
Right.
for me in the
Yeah.
future.
Yeah, no, yeah. We had our last child. We went in early, and like my wife was induced. It was the only one we ever did because we just lived so far away. But you know, but it's a thing. I mean,
Yep.
Do we keep concussion victims awake? Because you see that in every TV show and movie, right?
I get that all the time. No, we do not.
Doesn't matter.
And honestly, so one, sleep helps you repair. That's when your body repairs. The fear is because in which you're not looking for, like you let them sleep, but we tell them like what you're worried about is if you can't wake them up. Like, and I'm not talking about like, hey, and like within like a few seconds or a minute they wake. Oh, wait, what's going on? Like because they're really tired, they got an injury or whatever. I'm talking about you can't wake them up, you know. And so no, you let them sleep. They need to sleep. Just be aware, like, and we talk about if they're vomiting, and we're talking about like exorcist vomiting. We're not talking about just like I'm throwing up, you know. And those are things. And honestly, like you're not going to really see a lot of that with concussion because a concussion is a bruise on the brain. TV is really overblown a lot of that stuff.
Right.
I'm still concerned, but what we're worried about is the bleed,
like
right?
TBIs, like for real.
Right. I mean, I mean, I've been hit in the head so many times. I don't know what I got, but still, like, but yeah, like, it's definitely a concern. But you're just trying to, let them sleep, please. Let them sleep.
Yeah.
For your sake and for theirs.
Yeah.
Let's see what else here. I don't know how relative, or I don't know if this one. Well, I'll just read it. Someone has low blood pressure or a heart condition, and they are bleeding out. In order to keep the heart pumping, would you recommend artificial adrenaline?
You're carrying artificial adrenaline on you?
I was wondering. That's what I was wondering. I'm like,
what do you mean by artificial adrenaline?
We're talking like EpiPens,
Like an EpiPen, maybe?
Like an EpiPen? No. Because you're gonna make them bleed faster.
Yeah.
The heart condition and all that stuff is now low blood pressure. They're going to have low blood pressure, right? Especially after they're bleeding, you have even lower blood pressure. The blood pressure part, possibly. We wait to a very significant amount of time, but we do give pressors and trauma. When I first started, we didn't give pressors and trauma, meaning squeezing the medicine like epinephrine, which it works, but there's better ones that don't do as much damage for other stuff. But yeah, I mean, honestly, like I kind of come from a different way. Like you guys are gonna laugh at me. I would maybe give it to them, but I mean, why are you wasting time on getting a blood pressure while you're trying to fix bleeds, right? So, as a last ditch effort, I would. I talk about this to a lot of my guys. I've talked to our doctors. It's like, I think we maybe need to give like in some cases with patients, give them some stuff to kind of give them a will to live, if that makes sense. I got really sick during COVID. I had bilateral pneumonia, and because I'm a dumbass, I didn't want to go to the hospital, and so my wife made me.
No, that's just because you're a man.
Yeah. I used to go I'd start coughing and I'd pass out. So I started going to the bathroom when I started coughing, lay on the floor so my wife couldn't see. And then one day she saw me do it and she forced me to go to the hospital. Anyway, so I was in the hospital for like, and honestly, my oxygen saturation was like low 80s, right? And when you're that low, like your brain just doesn't work, right? You know, like, and I had this apathy. Like, I honestly just didn't care. Like, I'm like, I'll just die. I remember the doctor coming in. And that was back when like they were sending people home and they shouldn't have, and they were like, "Oh yeah, well you know, you're over 80%. Like you're doing pretty good." And I just kind of looked at him like, "If you're gonna," I just looked in my eyes like, "You're gonna send me home, just effing send me home, dude. I don't care." Mm-hmm. And he kind of took a step back, and I think maybe they saw my insurance and it was good because all of a sudden I got a bunch of people in my room and started doing things for me. And anyways, they hit me with a steroid, man, which is what really people needed during that time, and within 5 minutes, like I had the energy to fight, if that makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. And even though your body's shutting down, yeah, maybe give them a hit of epi, to give them that will to live.
You heard it all here, folks. Chris said,
So,
"Give him the
This is
cocaine."
medical advice.
Now, I would like to let you know, I am not a doctor. I am not a.
Sir, you look like a method. You have meth. I could use some meth for him right now.
Yeah. Oh, bro, man, you know what stuff I get done around the house on meth?
Just a little bump. Just a little bump.
Yeah,
Just
little
keep it
bump.
going.
No, I mean, because it goes back to, I don't know if you heard about that story last week at the Kentucky Zoo, State Zoo or something. The guy got bit by some really deadly snake, and he was the handler, and he's like, hey, the medics got there, and I guess 2 years prior they were like, they could have given the antivenom, but then the new doctor decided to take it away from them. But the snake handler had the antivenom, but he's like, hey, just give this to me, because in the next 60 seconds I'm going to go into the paralysis stage and I'm going to die. And so they had called their doctor didn't pick up. They called the ER, and the ER is like, yeah, just freaking give it to him. And honestly, if the guy could have, but then, so they're getting written up though for giving it without their doctor telling them. And they're going through a whole licensing board review and all this stuff. And luckily, they're getting some pushback from state representatives and stuff. But the layman snake handler, he could have given it to himself, or a bystander could have under the Good Samaritan Act.
Right.
But the medical professionals, once we get our license, we can't fall under the Good Samaritan Act anymore.
Mm.
So yeah. So you know what? If you want to give a bump of 0.3 of epi sub-Q, I didn't see shit.
Sorry. That's the antivenom's like tens of thousands of dollars, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's 50-50 chance that you get an anaphylaxis attack.
Yeah.
And
when I was in Okinawa, if you got bit by the habu snake, which is on Okinawa, they had to PCS, they had to take you off of Okinawa. You couldn't stay there anymore. Like, we had guys they were there for a week, because Okinawa, nobody wanted to go. Very few people went to Okinawa because they wanted to. I wanted to, and so I loved every bit of it. But some guys went there because they had to. So they always volunteered to go on these working parties to go out in the jungle, hoping they would get bit. And so they'd have to go back to the States, because the antivenom with habu snakes only works once.
Yes. Yeah. So there's antivenom. There's a catch-all antivenom, and then there's specific other ones, right? So, but unfortunately, look in your town. I guarantee you, Rob, there's no antivenom in your state.
No.
Maybe one hospital. Now, Arizona, Phoenix, yeah, they got. But even in our area, it's so expensive, and it expires so quickly. That's one of the ones that actually do expire, because it's got a timed potency.
Yeah.
Most the trauma centers maybe have one dose, or our main trauma center attached to the UT has maybe a couple doses. But that's still not enough. You got to have it over a period of time. So whenever someone gets a blood bite, they ended up starting calling all the hospitals and having them ship it to them. So.
Yeah, we just have the timber rattlesnake, which
will mess you up too.
It will. It probably won't kill you, but even that's down in
not going to be fun.
One little corner of the state. So up by me, which we don't have venomous snakes, but if you were to get bit by someone's pet or something like that, yeah, you're screwed.
Yeah. And if it's snowing and no helicopters are flying, you're even more screwed,
Yeah, so, very true.
So,
let's see. We got a couple other questions here. We kind of talked about steri strips, but for any small things besides stitches or steri strips, what are some good options for small wound closures? Tape.
This is the best thing.
Super glue.
Tell Samantha I can send her pictures of my laceration I did to myself, and you can barely even see the scar.
I had a guy, I ran a call one time, and he was doing some work on his roof. Well, we're on a roof. He wasn't his roof. And he fell through the roof, and his leg got caught on a lag bolt. And it ripped from his knee up to his hip. And for the ends of it, we had to use super glue to keep it from continuing to rip even more, because he kept he was in a lot of pain. Verse said, you don't remember it, but you're still in a lot of
Oh, it
pain.
still sucks. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the fentanyl sometimes, like especially if you're like really active, you have to give them a lot more than your scope might be allowed without calling your medical director or something, right? But man, thankfully it didn't bleed a lot. There was not a lot of blood,
Ketamine.
but it looked like I was about to start making some. I was cleaning him like I was going to cook him. That's what it looked like, but it was horrible. But yeah, we had to put super glue on the ends. We had like a very commercial grade super glue to keep it from continuing to rip, because that skin, once
they
it
use in
started
Vietnam.
ripping, it kept wanting to rip.
There's documented cases where that's what they used it in Vietnam in actually combat. So it works. I mean, I've used it hundreds of times. So it's not the greatest for like joints and stuff, because it can constantly, but for like any other like cut, it works great. So
Are there any places or any types of wounds you shouldn't pack?
The mouth.
Not that.
Unless you're into that kind of thing, then maybe.
Well, yeah, a brain. If you have brain cavity, but then again, if you're seeing brain tissue, don't pack anything. Just wait for the meat wagon.
No.
Should we leave casualties in place or drag them to safety?
Drag them to safety.
Okay.
Well, it depends.
Yeah.
Right. If it's a mass casualty, right, and if they can't walk and you've got too many, right, you might have to leave them in place.
Well, what are we talking about? We're triage? Are they a black tag or are they a red or yellow?
Well, who knows? Like if you walk into,
if they're black tag, there's laying in place. But if they're a red or yellow, they're going to the.
If you walked in on Sunday on that incident they had at that Mormon church, right? You've got
where it's actively on fire.
Yeah, like
you pull them out.
You're yelling at people to get up and run to you if they can, right? And if they can't, then if you got enough people there, then you're dragging them out. Yeah. But if it's just you and you're the only person able to do anything, you got to start getting who you can, and some people you might have to leave until you can get back to them, right? So
that's a decision each one of us to make. Yeah, I mean, it depends on it literally depends, right? Like, but I would just start pulling as many people out as I can and then deal with it afterwards, because you can't help them if they're burned to death.
Yep.
So.
Well, like you said, either way, make a decision and just do it.
I mean, because like when I started with like car accidents, right? Like they'd be, you gotta, hold C-spine, you gotta keep them in. It's like, but now it's like if they're in a dangerous area, you just pull them out. I mean, a C-spine, okay, they might be paralyzed, but they'd be alive, So like that's kind of the same situation. Pull them the hell out, man. Like we
used to call it a dirty drag. Sometimes you just gotta rip them out of there and deal with the consequences later, because it doesn't matter if they're paralyzed now if they're dead.
It's a triage of symptoms, a triage of conditions, right? Like dead is dead, right? But paralyzed and alive is different,
That's right.
So.
What kind of sounds and trauma are we likely to see in an active shooter event?
Screams.
Yeah. The screaming's the hardest thing to get past.
You just kind of like, so I'm trying to express this. You're gonna hear a lot of screaming. You're gonna have a lot but it goes back to the OODA loop. You're gonna be in a position where you're like gonna try to orient, but if you take too long to orient with all that, you'll eventually get tunnel vision. Maybe like something I might consider someone doing is if something happens like that, immediately look towards your family, and at least that can focus your attention rather than paying attention to the other stuff. And then once that focuses your attention, then go look at, okay, how are we going to get out of here? What's going on? Because as long as your family's safe, then you can go take care of others. But don't take care of others until you've saved your family. Does that make sense? So again, like even guys like Adrian and I who've been through things like this, like we're not going to be ready. Mm-hmm. We're still good. Like I've suppressed my adrenaline. But that's because I do it like all the time. But once I leave, but even when I'm out and about, like if something comes up, I'm still behind the OODA loop on that guy or that person, right? So you just have to just try to find a way to focus to your family and understand what's going on, and just auditory exclude until you can get your family safe and then take care of stuff, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like, does that make sense? I don't, do you guys have other opinions on that? I don't know.
When you suppress that adrenal response, does it hit you later? Like, do you still get that adrenaline dump after everything?
Yeah, you guys might. I don't really anymore. Unfortunately, no. I mean, I will. Like, it takes me days to recover after shifts, but like, I've been doing it for so long. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I still get like, oh, let's do. Like, I don't get that excitement. I mean, I get excited, but I don't have, my heart rate stays in a really low. I mean, just because of how I've done it. But when I get home, it's and like, I think I've thought, like, when I get home, like, that's when, like, the minors thing gets, like, stresses me out, and it's like, why am I getting stressed out about this stuff? But it's just because, like, your body's ready for that, but then the low key stuff you come back, and it's just something you deal with after a while. So, so
yeah, the adrenaline of the situation, one is designed to help you, right? It's designed to give you the strength you need and the focus you need to do what you need to do. You know, the hard thing is not having tunnel vision and like focusing on one thing that's not important, right? Just because you've locked in.
But you're going to have it, right? I mean, if you're not experienced, everyone's going to have to. That's what I'm trying to say. You're going to have the tunnel vision. So have that tunnel vision on your family. And then that can give you at least some time, take a deep breath, and then start looking at ways to get out. And don't look at anything else. Like, seriously, like, don't look at, like, there's times when I'm just like, this stuff doesn't matter. I got this person to take care of. I'll figure that out later, right? Now, I also have to worry about if someone's going to jump you or something like that can happen too. So, but yeah, like, when you're in that, like, I'm talking about a lay person, right?
Yeah.
Like, you hear crack, 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 and screaming, and look to your wife and kids, and just stare until you can get situated, and then go, okay, there's an exit, that's clear, or that's not clear. There's an exit, that's clear, and start moving. And grab your family and take care of your family. I can't stress that enough, because as soon as they're gone, that saves the resources for the ones that aren't. Does that make sense? So, and you know, so, like, I don't know, it's hard to, I don't know if it's making sense. Sorry. I can see it all in my head, but I know people don't see what I see. So.
And having that conversation with your family, like, hey, if this ever happens, first thing I'm going to do is get y'all out. Right. Like, and I bring that with my kid. Like, it was just me and my son and my daughter this Sunday for mass because the other ones were sick. You know, and with everything that's going on in the world, you know, I just make sure to prep my kids all the time. Like, hey, if something happens and somebody comes in wanting to do some harm, I want you to get down under the pew, right? And daddy will do what he has to do, or I want you to get out, right? That's that. And it just constantly talking to them about these things. The older ones who can understand it, like my younger ones, like my 7-year-old, my 5-year-old, it's a lot of the way I train them is like, you do what daddy tells you to do when I tell you to do it, no matter what, because one day, and you just got to build that foundation. But, you know, it's always, even with stupid things like, hey, pick up your toys, and they're not doing it. And then I get on to them. Look, I told you to pick up your toys now, right? Because if you get them trained to that and get them understanding that when dad says something, right, you do it now, right? Because one day you may need to do it because it's life and death.
Yeah.
Right. You don't need to tell them that yet. Right. But just get them used to, no, when I tell you to do something, you have to do it now. You don't ask questions, you do it. And then once it's done, you can ask questions. Right? But you do what I tell you to do now. You know, because it's building up that foundation for them. So now my 13-year-old she does what I tell her to do, right? When I tell her to do it. But then she always asks me, like, why did we do that? What was the reason? And then I explain it to her. This is why. You know, the world is full of evil people. Right. And whatever it is. Right.
I mean, kids aren't stupid, man. Right. Like, if you explain it to them, and that's one thing, like when I try to teach these things, I'm glad Rob reminded me on a bunch of them, like, and you, Adrian, like, because I really try to explain to people why you're giving it, even like the pharmacodynamics of a med, because it tends to stick in someone's brain a little bit better. Why, when you tell them why they're doing it. I mean, I know we have to train massive groups of people, like, and so you can only do a certain way, and you want them to do that muscle memory, but it really, really helps and enforces it when you tell them why they're doing something, you know, especially kids, man. Like,
Yeah.
they're not stupid. I don't care what you said. Like,
Yeah, they'll see the reasoning
right.
behind it, and they'll learn to trust you that much more. And they'll know I can do what Dad says because I know he's thought through this and he's
Right.
got my best interest, and I'll do it because I can trust him. Right.
I feel protected with them, right?
Right.
Hopefully, you know.
And
But that's another thing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that especially comes to the faith,
Mhm.
right? There's
Oh,
at a certain age, it's the just because I told you so is no longer works.
Yeah.
And that's
Right.
usually around 7 years old, right? After that, you need to explain them why. Daddy, why do we do the sign of the cross?
Why?
Yeah, and why, you know, and so I always explain things, right? Because what I didn't have growing up was the capability to ask why. I did it because I was told, right? And that's probably why I left the faith at 18, and it took me 18 years to come back. You know, but my kids, if I don't know the answer, I'm going to find out for them.
Yeah.
Right. And so you need to be able to explain these things to the kids because once they know why, they respect it a whole lot more. And two, they are much more willing to follow it the next time when you just say, just do it. Right. Because you're always explaining it to them. So they know, okay, I'll get an explanation later. I'll just go ahead and do it now.
Mm-hmm.
You mind if I give a quick example? How?
Of course.
So I really teach into my kids situational awareness, right? Like the best preventative to not be in that situation. Unfortunately, that's not life, right? Like, you can do everything right, and then someone hits you in the rear ends you, or you're just in the wrong place at the wrong time, right? So my daughter, when she was in college, she went to lunch she was going to lunch with her boyfriend, and she went into the Subway restaurant, and they were sitting there in line, a bunch of people in line, you know, and these two men came in, and she immediately, because I always told her, always watch the door, always, you know, like, and these two men came in, and immediately, and women, we all know, have that intuition that's that we don't always have, right? Because we're big dumb animals, right? So she said, she turned to her boyfriend and was like, hey, it was now my son-in-law, but you know, like, hey, let's go to the Chinese food. I feel like Chinese food. And of course he didn't argue because, you know, women, like, anyways, sorry Samantha and all the other people. And so he was like, okay, cool. So, like, they went over to the Chinese restaurant and had a great lunch and everything, and they came out, and there was like 10 cop cars in front of the Subway and crime scene tape. And I guess shortly after they had left, those two guys held up everybody in line and took all their wallets and purses and the cash register and and took off, you know? So it's like, it's not going to work every time, but
Yeah.
like, teaching your kids these things, they do remember these things, you know, like, and it's important to do it, you know? So I'm real quick back to the whole, like, multi-shooting, multi-cat, and like to moms and dads, like, just see tunnel vision, like we were saying, on your family and how to get out. You're gonna have to worry about that stuff. You're gonna have probably cycle trauma later, but that's survivable, you know. Just take care of your family first, you know. So, but I mean, it's damage. It's a traumatic event, you know. So, anyways,
Another question just came in. Taffy wants to know, how would one treat a snake bite in a crap at the fan situation? Rattlesnake, to be specific. I think he's asking, do you suck out the venom or not?
okay, Taffy. What I want you to do is when that happens, you need to reach down really quick, grab really, really tightly around the ankle or wherever it's the injury, just above the injury, and then kiss your ass goodbye. Sorry. I'm just teasing. There don't tourniquet it. There are not great, but better little kits that have a suction on it. It's like a syringe and has little suction cups. You can try to do that. and one of the old ways was like, you guys remember the old military snake bite kits, the little rubber tubes, and it had a scalpel in it. So it used to be like you cut either side of it and you let it bleed out. I don't know how well that works. Honestly, it's going to be kind of, I mean, they are survivable. I mean, but yeah.
Yeah, not so much, huh?
There's just not a lot to do after, like, in the shit hits the fan scenario, you know? So
just don't get bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wear snake boots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So unless you know anything else, I don't know. I've tried it. I've looked stuff up. I've been through all that. I haven't been able to find anything.
I mean, I'm sure there's somebody at my parish who's like, just put some lavender oil on it and some oregano essential oils. And
what do the Indians do? I've got to figure that out.
Why do you think there wasn't that many Indians when we got here?
Yeah.
Well, smallpox and things like that, probably, but
45 long colt.
Well, guys, I think that's about all I got. Everything I wanted to go over. Is there anything y'all wanted to finish up with? I noticed Hope's fanny pack in the pictures.
That was the downside of talking about all that stuff on air, is now everyone knows basically when my wife or I are armed. Yeah, she was wearing that at the baptism yesterday.
Nice.
But I need to get a first aid kit in the front pouch of that. So
yeah, that's all I got. I'm looking at mine now, and I've got to see if there's anything else in here I keep, because mine is just mine is designed to go through the March algorithm, right? Because I know how to do it, because of training. But like that's what I've designed to do. Like I know how to check for airway and respirations and circulation and all that, right? So, but the best thing I could say, guys, is get some training. Go out there and find people that will train you, paramedics, maybe even some cops who have some TCCC at your parish, or pay for it, right? Because it's always worth paying for from a good, reputable company. That's why I stress good, reputable.
Right?
Yeah. You gotta watch for those fly by night companies. Some guy who's like an EMTB who's trying to teach you some stuff.
I don't know when I
as much as he does.
When I started my CPR or my CPR ACLS business, I used to go to a lot of like nursing homes and other like care facilities, and like the first like 3 or 4 classes, they were all like shocked that I was making them actually do chest compressions and work on mannequins and stuff. They're like, I haven't had to do that in 10, 15 years. And I'm like, they just gave me the card, and I'm like, yeah, I know. I go on those calls at your facility.
Compressions will wear you out.
Well, yeah. So that's why I guess I can comment a little bit on that. Like, just do check for people. Like, if you feel like you need to do CPR and you have time and there's not other people dying, need holes plugged. If you want to do chest compressions, or you want to do CPR, do only chest compressions. Because one, like, just because they got shot doesn't mean there's still oxygen in your blood. That's why your veins are blue and not black. There's oxygen going back, so you still have a little bit more oxygen to be able to transfer through. Also, like, what I was gonna say. Oh, so and then like with CPR, like, so that in early 2000s, AHA did the study on how beneficial, how long you could go and still have good compression, cranial perfusion and stuff when you're doing compressions, and they basically came out to like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And they did a broad spectrum. They did like the 110-pound lady to like the 250, 300-pound, linebacker guy, or like marathon runner, and literally it was everybody was not doing enough compression after 2 minutes. So if you're going to do it, you better have somebody to give you a break in 2 minutes. Otherwise, you're not doing anything for them. And understand, like, if you're going to start, don't stop, because it takes about 5 to 6 compressions to get the pressure up enough to get blood to the brain. And that's what you're trying to do, is keep that alive until something else benefits. And as soon as you stop, that pressure immediately goes to drops and you start from scratch again. So if you're going to do it. And again, like you are going to break ribs. If you're going to do it on grandma, your first compression, you're going to hear cracks and pops.
Yeah.
A young person or 20-year-old, it's going to take a few rounds before you start breaking ribs.
Yeah.
But don't worry about it. That's not going to kill them, you know.
Yeah.
It will hurt though.
Broken ribs and a lot.
I've had rubbed off the skin off my hand from a broken compression.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
you got to be able to suppress any gag reflex you may have from seeing some horrible stuff in order to save people's lives.
I find the adrenaline does that pretty well for most people, but it's after the fact that they start puking out.
I've seen plenty of paramedic trainees pass out the first time they see more than 5 cc's of blood.
Oh yeah, that's a little different. Yeah. Sorry, I hope I was informative.
No, for sure, man. This was awesome.
Yeah. Well, guys, we're going to wrap it up here. If anybody has any other questions, put them in the comments. We do check them afterwards, and we do a lot of we'll answer a lot of questions afterwards.
I'm going to put the link to the Telegram here in the chat.
Yeah, put it in the So if you're not in the Telegram for the Guns and Rosaries show, join it. We got guys with like Christopher in here. We got a lot of good guys that are in there, offer a lot of good insight and advice on things that they're aware of. We do a lot of, I share a lot of intel that comes up, things that come up. Other guys share some things that they see that comes up as well. The best thing we can do is provide each other with the resources that we need for this community, because you can't do everything, right? And even if you start to build your little, 4-man team, as I stressed the first time we did this, you can't do everything. You need other guys to take specialties that they can take care of. One guy knows how to do radio. Well, you can't all be Christopher. Christopher does everything. He does radios. He does admin. He does leather working. He does shooting. He does everything.
Not good,
he's
though.
Jason Bourne. He's Jason Bourne is what he is.
I don't do any of it good though.
I do just enough to get me killed.
Yeah.
But we have a good group of folks there in order to help share information and knowledge. So join it. Get in there. Say hi to everybody, and be courteous. I will kick you real quick if you're causing any type of conflict. But guys, I think we're gonna wrap it up here. Thanks, Chris, for coming on.
Oh,
Appreciate
thank you for
your
inviting
time.
me.
I know
Appreciate it.
I know it's at a premium.
Yeah.
Congratulations, Rob.
Thank
Yes,
you.
yes. Chris made me a pipe stand a while ago with the Marine Corps, and my wife was like, where'd you get that? Did you buy that somewhere? I was like, I know a dude who knows how to do stuff. He just does things, man.
I know a dude that looks like a dude. Looks like another dude.
They could never make that movie today.
I know.
All right, guys. Well, it's good talking to y'all, and we'll see y'all next time.
Thanks a lot. Good night.
Have a good night, everyone.